April 1st, 2023. A 26-year-old TikTok creator holds a beer can in a 60-second video. Within 72 hours, a 150-year-old American empire begins to collapse. This is how one Instagram post wiped out $27 billion. Bud Light wasn't just a beer, it was the beer. For over 20 years, it held the crown as the #1 selling beer in America. Every Super Bowl, every tailgate, every backyard barbecue. Anheuser-Busch InBev was worth over $120 billion. They owned 500 brands worldwide. They were untouchable, or so they thought. But behind those billions, Bud Light was dying. Young drinkers were choosing craft beer, hard seltzer, cocktails. The brand was bleeding customers for years. They needed a miracle. Instead, they hired a new marketing VP who would accidentally light the fuse on the biggest brand disaster in corporate history. Her name was Alyssa Heinerscheid, Harvard-educated. She called Bud Light's image fratty and out of touch. In a podcast, she admitted, "This brand is in decline. If we do not attract young drinkers, there will be no future for Bud Light." Her plan: partner with social media influencers to reach Gen Z, make Bud Light cool again. On paper, it made perfect sense. Enter Dylan Mulvaney, a transgender TikTok personality with over 10 million followers. She'd met President Biden at the White House. Nike and Ulta Beauty were paying her for partnerships, but she was also a lightning rod for conservative criticism. And Bud Light was about to grab that lightning rod with both hands. On April 1st, 2023, and no, this was not an April Fool's joke, Bud Light sent Mulvaney a personalized can with her face on it. She posted an Instagram video dressed as Audrey Hepburn sipping from the can. It was a paid promotion, and it was about to become the most expensive Instagram post in corporate history. Within hours, conservative America erupted. The backlash was instant, massive, and unlike anything corporate America had ever seen. April 3rd, 2 days later, country music legend Kid Rock uploaded a video shooting cases of Bud Light with an automatic rifle. 50 million views in 48 hours. Travis Tritt pulled all Anheuser-Busch products from his tour rider. Ted Nugent joined in. John Rich ripped Bud Light from his Nashville bar shelves on camera. Everyday Americans started filming themselves pouring Bud Light down the drain, smashing cases with trucks, running them over lawnmowers. It wasn't just a boycott, it became a movement. And here's what made this different from every other boycott. People didn't just stop buying Bud Light, they switched to something else. And when a beer drinker switches, they almost never come back. Week 1, sales dropped 11%. Week 2, 21%. Week 3, 26%. By May, sales had cratered nearly 30%. MarketWatch called it the single worst month in Anheuser-Busch's entire history. The stock tanked. HSBC downgraded AB InBev. Shares fell from $66 to $58. By the end of May, the stock had dropped 20%. Forbes said the company entered bear market territory. Total shareholder value destroyed, $27 billion. And then the unthinkable. For the first time in over 20 years, Bud Light lost its crown. Modelo Especial, a Mexican import, became the #1 selling beer in America. A 150-year-old American brand dethroned by a social media partnership that probably cost less than $50,000. The return on that investment was negative $27 billion. But here's where it gets even worse. What killed Bud Light wasn't just the partnership, it was their response. So catastrophically bad that business schools will study it for decades. Their first response? A generic statement: "We produce commemorative cans from time to time." That was it. Then CEO Brendan Whitworth released a video about patriotism and bringing people together. He never mentioned Dylan Mulvaney once. And this is where Bud Light made the fatal mistake. They tried to play both sides. They didn't stand with Mulvaney. They didn't denounce the partnership either. They tried to disappear. And in the age of social media, disappearing is not an option. They lost everyone. Conservatives saw the partnership as betrayal. The LGBTQ community saw the silence as cowardice. The Human Rights Campaign revoked their perfect corporate equality score. Both sides abandoned them. Mulvaney said Bud Light never even reached out to her after the backlash. They abandoned the person they'd asked to represent their brand. Alyssa Heinerscheid was placed on leave. She never returned. Then, on July 27th, Anheuser-Busch laid off nearly 400 employees. 400 people lost their jobs because of one marketing decision. They started selling off brands. Shock Top, Red Hook, Blue Point, all dumped to a cannabis company. They were liquidating pieces of an empire. 4th of July weekend, Bud Light dropped to the 14th most popular beer in America. 14th. Behind Pabst Blue Ribbon, behind Miller Lite, behind brands no one talks about. They tried everything to recover. Patriotic ads with the Budweiser Clydesdales, NFL sponsorships, UFC partnerships, political consultants from Washington. Nothing worked. Consumers had already moved on. By October, Bud Light fell to number 3, behind Modelo, behind Michelob Ultra. Its own sister brand had overtaken it. Bill Gates quietly bought 1.7 million shares for $95 million. Even former President Donald Trump told Americans to give them a second chance. When a former president has to rescue your beer brand, you know it's bad. But here's the question everyone asks: did Bud Light ever recover? And the answer, even years later, is devastating. No. Bud Light has never reclaimed the number 1 spot. Modelo Especial still holds the crown. The throne is gone forever. And the term Bud Lighted entered the American vocabulary. It became a verb, a warning for every brand in America. Target pulled back Pride Month displays. The North Face faced boycott threats. Adidas scrambled. An entire generation of executives learned social media giveth and social media taketh away. So why did this one partnership destroy everything? 3 fatal mistakes. First, they ignored their own audience. Bud Light's core customer was a working-class, conservative-leaning American male. Decades of their own research told them this. They chose to ignore it. Second mistake, no crisis plan. The biggest beer company in the world was caught completely off guard by a completely predictable reaction. Third mistake, they tried to be neutral. In a culture war, there is no neutral. Their silence told one side, "We're ashamed," and the other side, "We never cared." Both sides heard exactly what they feared most. Former executive Anson Frericks said the campaign was driven by ESG and DEI pressure. The Bush family publicly condemned the leadership. The founding family turned against their own creation. This wasn't a scandal. It wasn't a product failure. It was a single social media post. 60 seconds of content destroyed 150 years of brand equity. The total damage? Over $27 billion in shareholder value wiped out. 400 jobs eliminated. Multiple brands sold off. The number 1 position lost, possibly forever. And a marketing VP's career destroyed. All because nobody in the boardroom asked one simple question: how will our actual customers react? If you're a brand or business owner, remember 3 things. Number 1, know your audience. Number 2, have a crisis plan before you need one. Number 3, in the age of social media, every post is a potential nuclear bomb. Bud Light didn't die in a war. It didn't die in a recession. It died in a comment section. And that is the most terrifying sentence in modern business. This was Corpse of Commerce. If this taught you something, hit subscribe. Every week we autopsy another empire that thought it was too big to fail. Next week, the company that lost everything because of a $35 product recall they tried to hide. Drop a comment below. Do you think Bud Light will ever recover? And what brand should we autopsy next? The best suggestions always become episodes. Remember, Every empire has a death certificate. We're the ones who write them.